Welcome in on House of Horns. My name is Victor Corona, aka Victor Producer, and joining me as always is Gilbert Manzano, who does it for Sports Illustrated MMQB. And Gilbert, you are out in Woodland Hills today. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about the new facility, how it compares to the old one. But we'll get into OTAs. Everybody else is having mini camp. Apparently, the Rams are going to have mini camp in Hawaii. So OTAs. This was the last of the OTAs for the Rams, and you were present there. So we'll get into all that. There's some Aaron Donald and Jared Verse competition that went viral the last couple of days. We'll get into all that as well. So just Gilbert, you're just how are you feeling? You just drove back from Woodland Hills to your house for about 2 hours. So how are you feeling?
Yeah, so I live in Orange County now, and I'm OC resident. First time I feel like, or I guess, you know the story. But
Yes,
I've been moving closer and closer to Orange County, and going to Woodland Hills. I used to live in Northridge, so that would have been
right.
closer. But going from OC to Woodland Hills was a long drive, but hey, it was worth it. To get some color, like I need color, right? So I feel red and a little
You might as well get
dehydrated.
ready because it's going to be that for
Yeah.
you for training camp for
So
the next couple months.
yeah, maybe I'll work on the tan because under the shirt here, it's the farmer boy here. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was kind of a drive, but it was worth it because the cool thing about OTAs, you get to see a full on practice. I got to see Matthew Stafford throw the ball to Davante Adams, a new wide receiver. I got to see Puka Nacua make some plays in the number 12 jersey, and I want to say for the first time, because I didn't make it out there last year. I got to see Jared Verse up close in person. Well, I guess I did see him for training camp, but there's a sense for Jared Verse where like he's the guy now. He like this is his
Yeah.
team, at least on defense. Like you mentioned the workout with Aaron Donald. Like I was kind of like the passing of the torch. So you get that sense from like Jared Verse, like, hey, this is my defense. Let me lead the guys here, and I got to see that up close. So it was good to be out there at Woodland Hills, and that was my first time going to the new facility there. And it's coming along pretty nicely.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to develop that whole area. It looks like, I mean, I saw the renderings a couple
Hmm.
weeks back and it looks, I mean, that area, it's already getting fixed up. But just to see what they could do around it, that's pretty cool. And I mean, just
Well,
for
Vic,
them to have that
you
little
know that
facility.
area very well because you live
Yes.
in the valley, and I'll give you a little backstory.
Yeah.
So from a 2 hour drive, I wanted to and it was in the morning. I haven't eaten breakfast. I wanted to stop somewhere to get food, and right there, there's like a whole shopping center. At least I thought there was a whole shopping center, a mall. There
Yep.
used to be a bunch of restaurants. I think like a cheesecake factory. I think the PF Chang's is still there,
Yep.
but I made a turn, and it was a ghost town. It felt
Yep.
like the movie set where you have a bunch of like empty buildings to film the movie, and I'm like, what happened to the restaurants and the mall? And I forgot about that. The Cronkies took it over, and it's pretty deserted right now. But obviously, like you mentioned, the renderings,
Yep.
you're gonna make something happen there. But I was very surprised when I made a turn. I'm like, there's nothing here. It was just a giant parking lot with nothing.
Yeah, everything is like further down now. Like the outside mall, you have the AMC, you have all that stuff where everybody goes in Woodland Hills. But the other area, like what's crazy too, Gilbert, and I know we'll get into the Rams talk too, but there was talk that the Dodgers were trying to buy that area before the Rams did to put a minor league team in there, and then they were actually they were not allowed because the Angels of Anaheim have access to this area for some reason because they
Really?
have Los Angeles. Yeah, and they
I had
said
no idea.
no.
Huh?
Yeah, it's crazy. But so now the Rams get to have their
So
facility there.
they said Rams go ahead and move in. They're okay with
Yeah.
that? Huh?
Yeah, well, because that you're yeah, like that. This is the Rams area, right? Like this whole, and then I guess the Chargers have the upper stuff, like in El Segundo. That's why you have them kind of separated as well. Like it's a whole geographical thing as well. Like as we found out last year with the Raiders and the Saints, like they have the rights down here, so you
Yeah.
can. Yeah, there's only so much you can put out there that you're here in LA having training camp. So yeah, there's a lot of territorial rights that you have to go through, especially with your other sports partner. Like you have to go through the same thing. Like even upstate with the Giants and A's. That's why the A's couldn't do anything, get anything done, because if they try to go to San Jose, the Giants were like, nope, you can't build there. That's our territory. So yeah, it's crazy how those territorial rights work. But I'm happy for the Rams, man. Like they're becoming like the team of here, the San Fernando Valley, and you're starting to see their presence felt here in the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah, LA is so big that you could kind of find an area and set up there. And I guess it makes some sense. Sometimes I think these rules are dumb, especially for training camp. But to have your facility there and build something, I get it. And it is pretty cool that the Rams have that, the Valley and maybe the 805 area with Ventura County a little bit because they were in TO. And I don't know what I shouldn't say this, but the Chargers are. I feel like they kind of had something in Orange County. They were close
Yep.
to San Diego, and then they went up to El Segundo, and I'm like, like the Lakers train there, the Kings train there. You should have had your own thing, but I'll digress here. And Robert, I see your comment there. It is there is a lot going on right now in LA, and I drove through the 101, and I saw a bunch of helicopters. I saw a bunch of I'll leave it at, I guess, a bunch of signs that said things, and uh, but for the ones that are keeping it peaceful, it is pretty cool to see people, standing up and making their they're trying to say, hey, we're here to make a living. We're here. We're not trying to cause any trouble while we're bringing the National Guard in. I'm not trying to get all political, but I think it's good to say, when I drove through, at least what I saw, it felt peaceful and people were out there, and I was honking and supporting people. So it is a little rough right now. It's sad to see a little bit, but it's good to see community coming together to fight for something that's good.
Yeah, that's the main thing, is the community coming together and helping each other out. It doesn't matter the race you are. It's really cool to see that. But I think the bigger thing going on right now, there's a fire in Burbank too. So
Oh, really? I didn't
there's
know.
a lot going on here in LA. But the like it, it it's not happening here in the, like I said, it just depends on where you're at. Like the majority of the protest is going down in downtown LA. Like I've gotten hit up like, hey, are you guys okay? We're like, yes, we're not in the middle of the protest. The majority of the protest is either happening in downtown LA or in Paramount. So, and it's just a
Yeah.
little, that's how big LA is, that people just uh ho- you know people think, oh, like it's going all over LA. No, it's just a little tiny part of LA. And so that's the thing. But I mean, you see something on TV or TikTok or social media and
Yeah.
everybody thinks it's going on
Yeah.
everywhere. It's like a
LA's
war
losing their
zone.
mind. LA's falling apart.
Yeah,
LA's a
yeah,
terrible place. Like, come on,
yeah,
it's not that,
yeah.
but yeah.
All right, let's get into some Rams football. You were out there, Gilbert. You talked about the facility and how much different it is now. You know we if you've been kind of going around social media with the Rams, you've been seeing clips of Davante Adams. He talked today. He feels rejuvenated. He feels that he's building a good rapport with Puka Nacua. He likes the way he goes about his business. He talked about Sean McVay, but what were your takeaways from what Davante Adams had to say today?
Well, the things that I like about Davante Adams, maybe it's conflicting because he says he feels rejuvenated, and that's obviously like a cliche or a trope in the offseason. Oh yeah, I'm in the best shape of my life, which
Yep.
I hate that. But also Davante Adams kept telling the reporters today, like, hey, like I've been a pro for the last 11 years. Like I've seen everything. Like why are you asking me if I'm learning how to run routes with Matthew Stafford? Like, I played with Aaron Rodgers. I got to play with Jimmy G. It's kind of like everybody wants to know, like, hey, like, Devontae, what is it going from Aaron Rodgers to Matthew Stafford? Like, hey, these guys, these are good quarterbacks, man. Like, whoever's there, Jimmy G or Matthew Stafford, like, I'm gonna make plays. And he was kind of annoyed because everybody wants to know what's different, Devontae. What's new here? What's going on in LA? And he's like, bro, like, I've been an All Pro for the last couple years. I'm good. I know how to run. And somebody was like, I shouldn't bash questions, but hey, so what new routes are you learning? Or what routes have you taken away from Puka Nacua? He's like, man, like the route tree is a route tree. Like I know what I'm doing here. So
Yeah,
from that standpoint, I like it. He's like, you know what? Just plug and play. I'm gonna be ready to go. Matthew Stafford's great. I like Sean McVay. He's a good coach. Puka Nacua is a stud. Let's go. Let's get this thing going. But people got to write stories in the summer. I get that. But then he's adding to the fire by saying, "Oh, I feel fresh. I feel rejuvenated." And it's kind of like, what do you mean by that? Is it because of the Jets and the Raiders? Are you trying to say those places were terrible and you're going somewhere new where they like to win and they know how to have a good winning culture? So you kind of get the best of both worlds with Davante Adams. But the point is, I like that he's going with, you know what, I know what I'm doing here. Like I know what to do. I've seen every scheme. I've seen all these type of coverages from defenses. Like I'm just ready to go. So people are trying to find a story of what's different with Davante Adams. Like he's not giving people anything. Even when somebody was trying to ask, like, you know, Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers, what's going on here? What's the difference? I'm not saying to compare, but what's the difference? He's like, you know, these guys are good quarterbacks. Like, just give me the ball, man. So you kind of see that side from Davante. It's like, hey, I'm special. I'm good. Give me the ball. I don't care what's going on around us. Make the play, or give me the ball and I'll make the play. But in terms of the field, Victor, again, it's June and it's OTAs and people are wearing shorts out here. There was a couple times, and I think Davante even alluded to it, like you could tell Stafford just said, "F it, I'm gonna throw him the ball in the middle of the field." He doesn't know the ball's coming his way. Very quick, he turns around, he catches it, and it adds for a highlight reel. Maybe the Rams already posted it on social media, but you could tell that Stafford is testing the connection, the chemistry, the awareness. Like, hey, if I sling that ball to you and you don't know it's coming, are you going to be ready? And so far, Davante's been answering the call.
Yeah, and I mean he's as he said, I think he's just pretty much annoyed up with the questions. I mean, he said, I have the quote here. He says, "I feel like this is what I needed, just based off the vibe and the aura of the building. Everybody's in a good mood. It's not like a dark cloud over the building." And I've experienced that quite a bit over the last few years. So
Mhm.
to your point, I mean, I understand where why reporters were like, so what do you mean by that? Like he's
Yeah.
adding to the fire, like he's getting a little annoyed. It kind of reminds me of like there was a quote recently um from Michael B. Jordan who just did Sinners, and he was talking about how Denzel Washington gave him some advice, and he said, stay off social media. He's like, look, people are paying to go see you in the movies. They're not paying you to see you every day on social media. And I think it's the same thing. Like he's gonna save the stuff that he needs to do because he's on up the Up and Adams show. So that's what's
Yep.
paying him. Like the
Mhm.
reporters, it's part of his job, like Marshawn Lynch said. But for him, it's like, hey, like I'm annoyed by some of these questions. If I need to say something, I'll just say them on the Up and Adams show.
Where I
So
get paid, which
yeah,
I get it,
exactly.
part of the game. Like even like
Right.
as a reporter, I honestly, Vic, like I'm glad people are coming around this mindset. Even with the quote you just gave on Michael B. Jordan, I'm like, that was Twitter in the heyday. People gave away all their content for free on Twitter,
Yeah.
and instead of going to read it on the website, I'm like, finally, people are catching on that we're giving away crap. But yeah, Davante is gonna save it for his podcast because he gets paid, and that's the way it should be. You want to get compensated, but that's a story for another day. Reporter and athlete dynamics for getting coverage and interviews. But yeah, you also want it to be quiet and peaceful, but you're also adding the fuel when you're going on the Up and Adams show, or you're saying things like, I feel fresh, rejuvenated, no black cloud over here. So yeah, but it just comes with the territory. That's who Davante Adams is. I don't like I don't want to say things like he's a guy who doesn't want to take accountability for what's going on or around him. Um,
Right.
but he still is a very good player. And a lot of times with these star players, they're like, you know what? It shouldn't be that hard. Just give me the damn ball or put the ball in my hands and I'm gonna make a play. Why are we having all this chaos? Why are we overthinking? I get that it happened with the Raiders with Josh McDaniels a little bit. Maybe kind of bleeds into Jimmy G not being ready when he was with the Raiders. Maybe it's the blame for the Jets being a toxic environment, and that's it's true. We have the histories there. So to him, maybe he's kind of talking about it a little more with the Rams because there is that stability, there is that reputation, and these guys know what to do. They know how to win, and then you have Stafford as your quarterback. So maybe from that standpoint, we gotta maybe cut him some slack for talking about it. But if it happens in September and they lose a couple games and he's still talking that way, and now it's like, okay, now it's a problem here. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's you, Davante. But I know people talk about this or point to this, and I'm one of those people. That Jaguars game, it's the freaking Jaguars in December when Aaron Rodgers and Davante went off on the Jaguars. It showed me he's still that guy.
Yeah.
But we're gonna find out in September if he's not making plays and he's complaining. Then it kind of that aura is wearing off of you being a stud.
Yeah, and I mean, I focus more on what he said about Puka and what he said about McVay and what he said about Matthew Stafford. I thought, and I know everybody's gonna look at this quote. Like I said, it's already, that's the reason I got it because you know, three different people, Gary Klein shared it. You had Sarah Barshaw, is that how
Barsha,
you say
yeah.
it? Yeah. Also had the same quote. So it was going around, it was making the circles. And then of course you see the aggregators kind of
Mhm.
pick it up. And so now it's going to be one of those things that people are going to be talking about. I can guarantee you tomorrow this will be a big story about what he said in terms of the dark
Yeah.
cloud. And so and with New York being a big market and the Jets, they're gonna talk about it. So, but talking about the positive in terms of what he said about and what you talked about with Matthew Stafford, I kind of wanted to focus in a little bit too on I guess the relationship, because to me that's the most important thing. It's not only the relationship that he has with Matthew Stafford and the fact that I think I saw Matthew Stafford say that, or maybe it was Sean McVay, I forget, but they talked about what you just said as well about just throwing the ball, being a little aggressive and just throwing the ball at him just to and him not being ready to catch it, I should say. And so that's just Matthew Stafford having some confidence in him and trying to see where that chemistry is going to be. Because as we talked about, I want to know who's going to do the dirty work in this team, and it's starting to sound like they're just going to let him do his thing, and they're going to rely on Puka and the rest of the receiving core to do the dirty work. That way, he's not out there trying to block one of those. I mean, you still need to go and block, but doing some of that other dirty work that we've seen from the other receivers in the past in the Sean Bay offense.
Yeah, so that's a concern for me too. Like if Davante won't do dirty work, does that mean Puka Nacua has to do it? And he's good at it. We've seen it when he was a number two for Cooper Cup, and it just became obvious this guy's better than Cooper Cup when it comes to being a playmaker. So he got the ball more. Um, if he does do that, does that take away from the greatness of Puka Nacua, of him being a playmaker? Does that take away from him being a focal point? Or is it okay to do a little bit of the dirty work and then every now and then you get featured and Davante just kind of wait your turn there? Take the pressure away from him, because when you're out there, people are gonna pay you respect. If DBs can't leave you alone, you be the decoy, but you gotta get Puka Nacua his too as well. So if he's
Yeah.
okay with that balance and everybody kind of has a little bit of a role where we know that Davante's gonna be the decoy every now and then run routes. But when it comes to blocking and doing stuff at the line of scrimmage, it's going to be more Puka Nacua. And maybe they got to find another guy to take that pressure or take the work off of Puka Nacua's plate so he can make more plays. And we'll see. Maybe it's Jordan Whittington. I don't think Tutu
Yeah.
was going to be that guy. He's more of a burner, stretch the field kind of guy. And I saw him out there making a few plays. And behind the scenes conversation, I told everybody I was shocked that Tutu Atwell was back, and a lot of people told me, "Yeah, me too." So I'm not,
There
I'm
you
not,
go.
I'm not alone there.
Yep.
When I said hello to a lot of people that I've become acquaintances with and good friends with. Um, but yeah, we'll see what they do, and the good thing though, Vic, is like everybody showed up for an OTA. It's still voluntary. Next week when they're in Hawaii, who's gonna miss the Hawaii trip? It's mandatory,
Yeah.
but who's gonna miss
Yeah.
that? Um, so for before the mandatory minicamp, there was everybody. I think it was 100% attendance today. Even Kyren Williams, who was
Yeah.
trying to get a new contract, was out there. So that's a good sign. So they have a lot of playmakers. I saw the rookie tight end out there, Terrence Ferguson. Maybe he could do some of the dirty work, play more 12 personnel, like you've mentioned a couple times, Vic. So there are ways where Davante can still be Davante, where the other part of the offense is not going to be hindered.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm this is one of those intriguing storylines that I'll be keeping an eye on during training camp because I kind of want to see how this is going to work out. I mean, they're just in t-shirts and shirts right now, and everything looks great. But that is something that we'll keep an eye on, and it was good to hear him talk today. But outside of that, Gilbert, before I move on to the next thing, I just wanted to see like was there anything that, you talking behind the scenes with people, was there anything that kind of stood out, or something that maybe, the reporters are talking about with this team?
Yeah, they do get the sense that it could be a busy season in terms of attention because everybody's expecting the Rams to be very good. There is a sense of like, hey, we might be covering a Super Bowl contender here, and me being honest all the time, I'm like, really? Like, it kind of, I know I've been negative on the show, but I'm like, it feels like they have limitations. It feels like they're going to make the playoffs, but they still feel like a second round team and out, you know?
Yeah,
But it's not my opinion. It's just what the sense is. And obviously,
yeah.
and that's a testament to what Sean McVay has people believing. They feel like they could win the Super Bowl. That's good. When you make moves for Davante Adams and Puna Ford and you also got moves for the future. I can't believe they got that first round pick still in 2026. So,
Hmm.
um, you know, they tend to do a lot of right things. Even the things that don't make sense, sometimes they prove you wrong in October, November. It's like, ah, crap, I didn't see that, but here we are. So they have a reputation of making things work, and when they're being aggressive for guys like Davante Adams, there is a feeling hey, they want to win the Super Bowl and they're capable of doing it. So talking to people like they're expecting for a long season. They're expecting for more eyeballs on the coverage, and more expecting more people to arrive to Woodland Hills to cover the team. But as we know, every season is different, and I get that sense too because yes, the travel is brutal for this team, but the schedule is not that difficult when you play the AFC South and the NFC South, and if you jump out to 5-1 star or 6-1 or whatever, better than the last 2 years. I think people are going to really care more than usual because this team has been weird the last 2 years. We're like, the Rams are under 500. Who gives a crap? They made it to 500. Who cares? And then out of nowhere, it's December. Like, oh, they might be decent. And so they don't get that buildup of being a Super Bowl contender like the Lions did last year or the 49ers in years past. So uh, people are preparing for that to be a long season of them being the team or the guy or having the bullseye on their back, even though they haven't won a Super Bowl. I think people, even us, we talk about them. I know people say we're negative. We talk about them as being a top three team
Oh
in the
yeah.
conference. The Lions and the Eagles and the Rams. That says a lot for this team. So I think people are getting that sense like, hey, just buckle up. It could be a long year, but a good year for in terms of the LA Rams.
Yeah, and I mean they might have caught a break now, because I mean you see the retirement from the
Yeah,
Lions center, and then you see what's going on with Philly and them losing some of those guys. So I mean, things might have, they might have, the conference might have, gone back to them in terms of like, the I had, the Lions and the Eagles, but with some of the things that are going on. Like I said, it's June right now, so we'll see. But that's also what worries me for this team, Gilbert. Is we've been, having, since I've joined Compas on the beat. We've been going around training camps, and you just get, sometimes you feel that aura from what you're getting from, the B reporters, and then you buy into it, and then
yeah,
you're like,
yeah,
yeah, we were wrong. They were wrong. And so that's my only worry there. But I think this team has everything you need in terms, yes. Do they have holes on this team? Yes. And part of that, Gilbert, uh, is the cornerback position. And Sean McVay was asked about Jaire Alexander,
yeah,
and he said, "quote Nothing but respect for the player, but I don't know if that's a direction we would go." Is he
yeah.
bluffing here, or are they? Because I
No.
also saw a tweet for Jordan Rodriguez, who said that there's nothing imminent in terms of what's going to happen with Jalen Ramsey. So I
Yeah.
guess the option for the Rams is, are they going to stay still and they like what they have in their group they have, or do they want to give up some draft picks to go get Jalen Ramsey and give him more money than you want to, or is the better option going after, or does, or at the same time, does Jair Alexander fit what they want to do?
Yeah, that question, I'll start with the Jair Alexander part, and I believe Sean McVay when you say like he's not really in the plans. Like I don't think you're gonna bluff that hard, and you know, and it's not really common for coaches to say, yeah, that guy's not in our plans. It's kind of like, hey, we're keeping options open, we're looking at everybody, we're still talking, it's ongoing conversations, we'll figure it out. He was just pretty much like, respect to the guy, but yeah, we don't want him. It's like, oh, okay. So I'm gonna take the honesty. Like
And
I tell,
he's close with LaFleur, so
yeah,
yeah.
it just didn't seem like a fit for them, and I'm like also too, like he's still a quality like you know, maybe I could be wrong here, but you put injuries aside, and who's a better player, Jaire Alexander or Jalen Ramsey? I think Jaire offers more, at least as a cornerback. I think Jalen could be great at safety if he's able to do, or at least be willing to do that or evolve in terms of that. But corner, I think Jaire offers more. The guy can stay healthy, but if he offers more, he might cost more. I don't think the Rams want to pay him. So I
Yeah.
appreciate the honesty from Sean McVay. That was pretty nice to hear. I'm gonna take his word for it. The one with Ramsey is a little tricky because if putting aside that the guy needs to be traded, just reading the comments or listening to the comments, it feels like he's not really an option. It's like, we haven't really talked about it. We haven't really had discussion. He didn't rule it out. He didn't shut the door on it. But then I
Right.
started thinking, like, yeah, you don't want to give away your leverage. This guy needs to be traded. Like, he's still on the team. He hasn't been released by the Dolphins. With Alexander, is easier. He got released. You could get him if you want him. But with the Dolphins, they want something. They're whatever. I'll be mean. They're the dummies that paid him 2 years ago or a year ago today, like pretty
Year
much
ago.
a year
Yep.
ago, whatever, 10, 11 months ago. Not when I saw that contract extension for Jalen Ramsey, I'm like, do you guys know that he's at the end of his prime? Why are we paying him like a top corner still? Like, he's a good corner, but like, we've seen NFL players get old really fast, and now here they are a year later wanting out. A team that hasn't it's not the Dolphins podcast, but a team that hasn't got any results for all the aggressive moves, and you double down on Jalen Ramsey. That was a head scratcher a year ago, so I'm not surprised they're trying to trade Jonnu Smith. I forget who else they want to get rid of. There's even Tyreek Hill rumors because Bradley Chubb, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Ramsey, all these trades did not work out for them. They paid Tua, they paid Jalen Waddle. Teron Armstead retired. So the Dolphins have no leverage, but still, you want to keep the cards and hold them tight if you're the Rams there. So maybe they are interested. They know the guy. Chris Shula knows him, obviously. So if they don't want to play ball, then release the guy and maybe they'll scoop him up. But I still kind of, if I had to guess right now, Vic, I say neither guy comes to the Rams. And I don't know, maybe they go Rasul Douglas, or maybe they don't go anywhere. Like maybe they believe in Kobe Durant and they take another step. Maybe they're
They
okay
got
with
Forbes. I saw some
yeah,
people. I
Forbes.
mean, yeah.
He I saw him out there and he looked a little more bulky. Like that was a thing with in Washington. He was just too skinny. He had a bunch of interceptions in college, and at the Commanders being the Commanders, I thought they fell in love with the interceptions too much and didn't pay attention to his physique. And if you want him to be an outside corner, like he didn't have the size, or he's not physical. So that was always strange to me. In the 2023 draft, I remember doing the coverage on him. But if he's able to evolve as a more of an inside guy or do a little bit of everything, that's an option. But Vic, you're right. They have young guys there to maybe have a committee. And I think their safety rotation gives them a lot of flexibility. I think Kitchen's
Yeah.
going to be a star. I think Cam Curl was, good. Like, he was a quality player. And then we all know Quentin Lake is very versatile as well. So they have options.
Yeah, and they got guys that can move around. It's just they're not big names, and that's why a lot of people. And I mean, look, It's not that it's not that we don't believe in those guys. We just saw them get torched over and over. Like it was every game they give up one big. Like I think the worst one was the one to what's his name, and he's already retired. Odell Beckham Jr. When Odell Beckham Jr. kept like beating them deep, I'm just like, at this
What
point, like
was the
he's
Ravens
done.
game?
Like
Yeah.
how?
Yeah. The
Yeah,
Ravens game, or yeah.
yeah. The Ravens game 2 years ago, and then last year it was what's his name? Or was that the year before? Now I'm
Jawan
with
Jennings was
Washington.
last year. Oh, Terry McLaurin was 2 years
Ten,
ago.
yeah,
But remember, that kind of carried over. It was a bad 2023, and then the really rough first 2 months in 2024. There was a Jameson Williams game,
yep,
Jawan Jennings game.
yep.
There was a good amount of games where people just really torched this team.
Yeah, especially, and it was like one big play every time. Like, and That was a
Remember the
problem.
Bills
And
dropping like 60 points in that
yeah,
shootout? That was
yeah. I
another one,
mean,
but yeah, you just never
yeah.
know with the secondary.
Yeah, and so that's why we have some concerns with the secondary, and hopefully some of these guys can step up and take that next step in their development. So and we, like you said, I have a lot of confidence in the way they rotate those safeties. It's the outside guys that we're kind of worried
Mhm.
about, and hopefully one of them, whether it's Forbes or as you said, Kobe Durant, kind of steps up and takes that next leap. That'll be something to kind of pay attention to. Gilbert, just give me your final just thoughts in terms of your takeaways from being out there today, and then we'll get into the rest of the stuff that's been going on with this Rams team.
Yeah, obviously the stars were easy to spot: Puka Nacua, Davante Adams, Jared Verse. So it's really hard to kind of take away from an OTA. And a lot of the work that we're doing today was red zone, and you want to work on that side. It wasn't a lot of 11 on 11. But I think Kyren Williams being there is a big deal, and it's I'm not even sure if it's a big deal for Kyren or more for the Rams, because I think it's a big deal for the Rams because they kind of have all the leverage, they have all
Yeah,
the say, and what is Kyren Williams really gonna do? Like, they already drafted my potential replacement of Blake Corum. Maybe Blake Corum wasn't very good last year, but I mean, as a rookie, remember Kyren Williams couldn't stay healthy, and he
yeah,
made his role. So I think Sean McVay and Leslie know that their scheme works for making running backs good. So if Kyron's there and maybe he's willing to play ball, and it says, you know what, I get it. I'm not Saquon. I'm not Derrick Henry. You don't have to give me a market-setting contract for running backs. But for the Rams, so the one thing for Kyren Williams going here, Vic, is James Cook also needed to get paid. If James Cook is kind of this nice big contract, that raises the price on the Rams and Kyren Williams. So why don't you get the deal done quick? It
yeah,
could be an affordable deal, maybe a nice 2-year deal, or maybe 1-year deal. You get out of it after a year. We all know how funky these NFL contracts are. So I think Kyren being there, and I think Leslie has said on the record saying, "Hey, we're in a good place. We're fine."
yeah.
I think they take care of him, but just having no distractions. Maybe that's my biggest takeaway. Vic. Like, everybody being there 100%. Maybe, like, I would not be shocked if Kyren Williams gets taken care of on a very short term deal, a home team friendly deal, and he just wants to play ball. So. Uh, Other than that, the concerns that I have are still there. We're gonna find out how they are, maybe in training camp, maybe a couple scrimmages. I haven't heard anything about a joint scrimmage just yet, but when you have a lot of teams in Los Angeles training, you think they'll have a couple of them, the Chargers, the Cowboys. We'll see if the Saints are gonna be out here. There's a good amount of teams that have some work in. So, and obviously Sean McVay knows a lot of coaches around the NFL to make something happen. But yeah, offensive line and linebacker and cornerback are still big concerns here. But for the most part, just having everybody there, having that feeling of being maybe a Super Bowl contender, and maybe having a special year, you got that feeling there at Woodland Hills, and it was cool for me to be there and kind of see it. And it is an upgrade from Thousand Oaks, so maybe having a better facility, people feel better about it.
Yeah, and I mean, I've already heard a lot of the players raving about it. So,
Hmm.
and I'm sure Sean McVay is happy that he's not in a little bungalow with no windows. So hopefully he has his own office here and air conditioned, and that'll definitely help. But I was gonna tell you one more thing, and I saw a story. I think the reporter's name is Justin Mosqueda, and he talked about what's going on with the NFL and the owners and how they're a little worried because uh what a lot of these teams are doing, especially the upper echelon teams like the Eagles, the Chiefs, um they're spending cash, and they're pushing that money, Gilbert, so that way they're able to compete now because they know that there's going to be a CBA in a couple years, and so they know that they can recoup that money later on. So they're being smart about how they're building their teams now. So they're in a win mode now because they know that uh, they don't need to pay the credit card later on because there's going to be a new CBA that's going to kind of fix. They're going to want to fix that cash flow thing that's been going on the last few years that you've seen from a lot of these teams. And this is where the Rams come into this conversation. And I wanted to talk about the whole Kyren Williams thing. And I think it's going to get done. But if it gets done, it's going to be money up front. And it's going to be, like you said, whether it's going to be a 2 or 3 year deal where that money gets up front. That way they can be out of it in the 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, it could be like a, it says 4-year deal, but it's really a 2-year deal, maybe even
Yeah.
a 1-year deal where you take a hit a little bit, but it's not that bad if you get out of it after a year. It doesn't help that Blake Corum is there, especially if Blake Corum does something in year 2 that could, so if you're Kyren, like you kind of take what they give you because you don't want to see what Blake Corum does in the second year. And then also think about all the stars that are up and coming that needs to get paid. Puka Nacua, Jaire versus a little early, but he's gonna
Kobe
be
Turner.
Kobe
Yeah.
Turner, another guy. He's in year 2. Puka Nacua, no, it's actually year 3. Yeah, Turner, Nacua, year 3, verse in year 2, and
When
the way
Lake
these
at one point. Yeah.
and the way these deals are been going lately, people are getting paid earlier, like 3 years, like especially the first round picks who are not quarterbacks getting paid after year 3 is starting to become a trend. That was always rare. It was like even to the point where the quarterbacks, like they were waiting into the 4th year, 5th year. The second you got to start a quarterback and they prove themselves, they get paid after year 3. Now it's
Yep.
becoming a trend with the non-quarterbacks too, because Derek Stingley making 3 years, 90 mil, and Stingley was, remember, people thought he was a crappy cornerback because in year 1 he got hurt and Sauce Gardner took off, but then he has 2 good years and now he's making bank in a 3-year contract. And players like that because they get out of it very quickly and they're still in their prime and they get to reset another deal. So the smart teams lately have been paying players early. The thing with Kyren Williams is a little unique. He's not Saquon, he's not Kyren. You don't want to take care. Sorry, he's not Derrick Henry. So he's not a guy you think about taking care of early, but he was like a 5th round pick, and he's going into a contract year because those guys don't have the extra year on their contract like the first rounder. So that's kind of the tricky part. We, like you mentioned on Compas on the B, even the guys who are not first round picks are trying to get leverage with the fully guaranteed contract with Jaden Higgins. So it's kind of a weird place right now. Like you mentioned, the CBA contracts and players want to get fully guaranteed contracts are becoming more common. Players getting paid earlier becoming more common. So when you're in the Rams, you got Kroenke, like it's okay
Yeah,
to try
exactly.
something different, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But the thing with Kyren Williams, man, it's like this team is always reminding themselves, like, remember Todd Gurley? Remember when we paid Todd
Yeah,
Gurley?
I
That
was
didn't
waiting
work
for you to
out.
finish because I was going to bring
Yeah.
up that name.
So that's the
Yeah.
tricky part. But I think Kyren being there, I think is willing to play ball at
Y-
least.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it gets done. And like you said, like I think Todd Gurley memories. I think it's part of the big reason why. But like I said, I think they're gonna do what everybody's been doing. They're gonna front load his contract and give him like it's gonna look like a 4 year deal, but it's gonna be where they can get out after 2 years. And especially when you have, the 2 other running backs, they're waiting to take his job. So,
Yeah, there's a rookie
um,
this year too. You're right. Yeah.
yep, yeah. Just to kind of finish up here, you saw that viral video of Aaron Donald kind of and Jared Verse having a workout contest. Of course, Aaron Donald won, and there was all this speculation. Oh, is he going to come back now? No, he's staying retired. He's done. It was just something like fun for them, and it was. I was a little. I was like thinking, like, what are you doing, Jared Verse? But I thought it was a kind of a cool thing. It's kind of like you said, the passing of the torch.
Yeah. It's now Jared versus defense. Like, I get it. People said maybe Kobe Turner could be the guy. I'm like, no, it's Jared Verse. He's the top player, and he's also I don't know if he's gonna be a cap. Kobe Turner's a captain, but does Jared Verse become a captain this year, or he's just a very loud guy who he was very energetic, doesn't mind trash talking, but is that worthy of being a captain? Who knows? But it doesn't matter. He has a voice and people listen, and he backs it up. Like,
Yeah.
shout out to Gary Klein. We're talking about his Jared Verse articles when they were in the playoffs with the Eagles, and him saying he hates Eagles fans. And Gary reminded me, like, hey, when he went to cover the Commanders Eagles NFC title game, he wanted to kind of have a Ram spin to it. So he followed up a week later. All right, now that you guys moved on and you're not playing the Rams, what do you really think about Jared Verse? They're like, we loved it. We loved that he was a villain. We loved that he was talking trash, and he backed it up on the field. We're big fans of Jared Verse. Yet not when they're playing the Eagles. So, to me, I like it when you talk trash and you could back it up, and I think people respect that. So I think he's getting a lot of respect with the Rams, and I wouldn't be shocked if he's a captain. He like I just don't know to the extent if it's more like kind of a goofy guy or like nah man, like he's business. He sets the standard. Remember Aaron Donald he wasn't talkative, but
Yep.
he set the
Yep.
standard by his work ethic, and that was enough. So everybody leads in different ways.
Yep.
But Verse being maybe a guy who has a lot of energy and kind of a fun, easygoing guy, but also like, hey, if you're not putting your work, like he might call you out. He's a trash talker, or might give you a hard time. That could be a different kind of thing there. But for this workout, kind of felt like the passing of the torch. Like, hey, stop asking Aaron Donald to come back. This is Jerry versus team. And then today they announced that the Rams are going to honor Aaron Donald with the bobblehead, which I thought was weird. I'd like,
yeah, November 23rd against the Tampa. I was like, I usually don't go to games, but I might be down just for the bobblehead, just so I add to my collection here.
Like, that's cool and all, but to me, I was gonna say Rams Ring of Honor, or like Rams Legend or Rams retirement jersey.
I think they're gonna milk it, Gilbert. I think they're gonna have him.
Why?
Like,
This guy was the greatest defensive player for that. They won a Super Bowl. What are we waiting for? So when I said bobblehead, I'm like, bobblehead, he's earned a lot more. But yeah, you're right. They're gonna milk it.
I think they're gonna. I think the next few years you're gonna see it's gonna be a bobblehead. Then it's gonna be like a Ring of Honor. Then it's gonna be like a retirement jersey or something. Like they're just gonna
waiting for the Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Leading up to the Hall of Fame. Which honestly, like we've talked about this. I know he's not an original LA Ram because he was with the St. Louis Rams.
Yeah.
But he should get a statue outside of SoFi. I mean, I would start hurrying up before. I doubt the Chargers are going to put Justin Herbert a statue out there before Aaron Donald. So
you got to win a Super Bowl first. But Donald did it. He was regarded as the greatest, player at least of his era, and maybe deems a tackle of all time. That's still up to debate, but it's not a hard conversation. So
yeah, that'll be the thing in the fourth year. He'll get a statue, or one of these years. There's going to be a retirement jersey, a statue. They're just like I said, and rightfully so. I mean, he brought the second Super Bowl to LA here. So yeah, that's the first.
Maybe I shouldn't talk about this, but I'll make a little lighthearted joke. Maybe the whole Jared Verse conversation took away from Aaron Donald's stalker problem. So you don't want to be in the spotlight for that. So Jared Verse going and work out with Aaron Donald, gave him good PR, because who knows what's going on with that soccer situation. Hopefully him and his family are safe, but that was kind of came out left field.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, and I know where. I'm not gonna say I do know where they live, but I'm glad that
you're the stalker.
I am not the stalker, but I'm glad that he lives in a private community where he can be safe. So I'll leave it at that. But it was great, and I can't wait to see. I think it's the right way to do it, Gilbert. I mean, kind of honor him every year until he goes into the Hall of Fame, and because he's a big part of what you want to do here in LA in terms of growing the fan base. Because you have two teams, and then there's a team that left that still has a big presence here in LA. So couple more things here, and we'll go. Puka Nacua missed some of OTAs last week, Gilbert. He returned. He went to Samoa, where where he joined his mother for and medical professionals from Utah Valley University to provide testing, clinics, and education about diabetes. So that was an awesome thing that I saw that he did. Shout out to Puka for doing that stuff. He did have he lost his dad at a young age because his dad had died of complications of diabetes. So that was really awesome. And then go back to Hawaii. He'll be close to home, and I'm sure there's going to be some stories about him out there, and being welcomed, and that'll be something cool to see.
Yeah, honestly, it's been very cool to see Puka Nacua being more comfortable in front of the camera and being himself, and not shying away from cameras, and really embracing the ambassador role for the Rams. So when you think about the Rams, you think about Matthew Stafford, and I think maybe Puka Nacua might be second, and maybe Jared Verse after that. It's not Cooper Kupp, it's not Aaron Donald anymore, so you kind of needed some new faces, and to Puka Nacua's credit, he's really taking that on, and and now doing good things with it, with his his fame and profile and brand, and doing something good for his community and something that really means a lot to him. So seeing that story was very cool, but it's been nice to see him kind of get out of his shell and really embrace that being part of the franchise face, taking on that role and doing it well.
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna take over. You know how you said that it was like the passing of the torch with Aaron Donald and Jared Verse. I feel like the same happened with in terms of doing the community work between Cooper Cup and Puka
Yeah.
Nacua. I think that's on him now. Um, you see Matthew Stafford being at Dodger games and stuff like that, but that's more of him supporting Kershaw. I think you'll see the when it comes to the community stuff, it'll be Puka at the forefront, and then you see Jared Verse in terms of leading the defense, and then Matthew Stafford being the leader of the offense.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see how he does, but I feel like he's had like a good 6 months, like a Super Bowl radio role. He's busy, and I see him on every podcast. I see him on the Pat McAfee show, and obviously now doing good things for the community. So hopefully he keeps it going, and he's really taking on this role here.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see out of these athletes on their off time and not getting into trouble and doing good things. And that's awesome that he got to go back home and kind of do a good deed. And we'll see him around here in LA, and then that'll be kind of cool. But that is all for us. The Rams are heading off to Hawaii next week for mini camp. Like I said, it's been weird how a lot of these NFL teams have kind of structured. There's some that have their mini camp before their OTAs. Like it's weird how some of them do it. I think I saw. I was trying to remember. I know the Bears kind of changed their schedule around, but they also
Yeah,
have a new coach.
they
So that
started
Ben
early. Yeah,
Johnson,
yeah,
yeah. So yeah, and then I thought this was. I saw everybody else had mini camp, so I thought this was mini camp for the Rams, and I forgot that they're actually heading out to Hawaii to have mini camp. So this was actually the end of OTA. So, and it was awesome that you were out there, Gilbert, and kind of give us, what's going on down there, and talk about the new facility. But yeah, they're it's almost football time, and we got about a month before training camp. Can't wait to find out. I think that's the next thing, right, Gilbert? Is us
yeah.
finding out the training camp dates, and then yeah, when they're gonna have joint practices.
Yeah, that should be coming up soon. So, I had to make it out there today for a practice because I won't be going to Hawaii. Bummer for me, but
Yeah,
yeah, a lot of teams have mini camp this week, and then maybe a couple stragglers next week. But even that for the Rams is good because when I first heard about the Hawaii thing, and I'm like, I thought we're not supposed to go to Hawaii because they're still recovering and rebuilding there, and they don't want a lot of outsiders, but it does compare to the LA fires and what happened in Hawaii. And I think Hawaii inviting the Rams that, hey, if you guys come here, you do a lot of good and help us out. It's nice that they're both willing to help out in both ways, and both communities going through some stuff. So um, yeah, Sean McVay's been joking that maybe they won't get a lot of work done in terms of the football field because Hawaii, and also you're also there to be involved with the communities out there. So that's also a good thing. So I think today was kind of one of their final, serious practices, and I got the red marks here to show for it because they're out there for a while. But yeah, and then they're gonna go back into training camp. We'll find out soon where. Obviously, it won't be too far. But yeah, it feels like real football is going to be coming up close, and then we'll be doing more consistently. We'll be doing more
yep.
shows consistently here. I know we've been random here. People probably don't even know that we're doing
I
it today.
mean, I think part of it too is like you want like yeah, we blame the Rams, but the Rams don't put out a lot of information, and we're not just gonna BS you guys about like, hey, let's do a ranking of the.
Yeah,
We're not doing that. I'm
yeah,
sorry. Like
yeah,
we
we
rather
want to waste your time.
Gilbert was out there. He's giving you everything. He's foot on the ground down there with the OTAs, and so we rather give you the good information rather than give you some aggregate stuff. So yeah,
Yeah,
like we'll
yeah.
keep you
So
guys updated as to once we know when training camp, we'll try to schedule something to go out there. And I know you're gonna make your your rounds around all the West Coast teams. So, like I said, we'll keep you guys updated. If there's any news with the Rams and they make a trade or they sign a couple big names, then
Yeah.
we'll hop on here. But there's not much news coming out of the Rams, and glad we were able to get you down there and get you to do a show today.
Yeah. So, maybe within a month or start doing a little more shows and then start feeling like more real football. But it was good to be out there today. So again, like I know I would like to give more information, but I'm like, yeah, they're out there in shirts and shorts. But I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty nice to see Puka Nacua and Davante Adams out there together making plays with Stafford. Like, and Stafford could still sling it. So that's the best I could give you guys in terms of hype. But it is nice
There
to
we
see
go.
those two there.
Yeah, I mean, we know this team is a Super Bowl contender, and it's good to see that a lot of the B reporters feel that way. And a lot of, I'm sure you had conversations, and they agree with some of the things, positive and negative. So,
Yeah.
hey, we're on the right path here, and honestly, just can't wait for football to be back. One last thing I wanted to share here. It's Willie Bowen. He says he wants to see a 2 running back attack in the backfield. That would be great to see, but I doubt it. It's either 11 personnel. Maybe we get a little 12 personnel here with some tight ends, but I doubt we'll get two running backs out there at the same time. But you never
Yeah.
know. McVay could be changing things, and we'll see how this offensive line looks. That's another thing, Gilbert. We'll keep an eye on. But yeah, man, thank you for being out there, driving back 2 hours and doing the show. I'm sure Ram fans will appreciate this. And if you stay this long, like and comment, leave us a comment, see how you're feeling about this and what your takeaways were from Davante Adams, what he had to say today.
Yeah. Please let us know what you thought about the show or anything Rams related, any comments, any takeaways. Definitely highly encouraged to do that. But it's time to get out of here. It's almost 7 p.m. while we're recording this, and that means the baby needs to go to sleep. So that's where I don't have any sleeves. Roll up my sleeves and
Yeah. Get to
put
do
them to
daddy
sleep.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, so I gotta do that. I've been out the whole day. So
Yep.
but yes, and then also obviously everybody stay safe out there. And
Yep.
obviously if you want to fight the good fight, shout out to Jorge. Love to see him. He made it before the ending of the show here. But yeah, definitely you're out there. Stay strong, stay safe, and fight the good fight. Good to see all the support here. But it's time to get going. On that note, nos vamos. Pues, Jorge, you're late. Vámonos.